Sri Ramanuja was born in a small village called Sri Perumbudur in the Tamil Nadu state of South India in the year 1017 CE. Right from the beginning, he was a highly devotional person and he could not accept the other philosophies, especially the Advaita philosophy. He was sent to an Advaita philosophy guru called Yadava Prakasha, and he could not accept his teachings, so he left his guru. Such was his devotional intensities, and he followed the arvas, the teachings of the Tamil saints of Vaishnavism. He founded a unique philosophy called Visishta Advaita philosophy. It was not proper Advaitam nor proper Dvaitam. It was another form of Advaita philosophy, and it is otherwise known as the qualified Advaita philosophy, that is the Visishta Advaita philosophy. He interpreted the Prasthanatraya based on his philosophy, and his interpretation of the Brahma Sutra is called the Sri Bhashyam. What he said was that God is the supreme power, and he could not accept that Brahman is Sat Chit Ananda. That was his major contradiction or diversion from the Advaita philosophy. What he said was, Sat Chit Ananda or Satyam, Jnanam and Ananta are the qualities of Brahman. It is not Brahman itself. That was the major deviation from the Advaita philosophy. And during his time, Sri Ramanuja did a very major reform. He standardized and organized the temple worship, that is the rituals to be followed in the temple, the pujas to be followed, and the mantras to be chanted. All these he reformed, and that is even followed today in almost all the temples in India, especially the temples that follow Vaishnavism. So that was a major reform, and almost all the temples of Vaishnavism, they follow these rules. The concept of God, according to Visishta Advaita philosophy, is God is the supreme power and his subordinate is Prakriti. God controls Prakriti, and Maya is the creation power of the Lord. Maya is real, as well as the universe, this created world is real. They are not illusion. And the supreme power is called Vishnu or Narayana. It was Sri Ramanuja who introduced the concept of Shri in Vaishnavism. Shri is Lakshmi, and Lakshmi is always seen with Narayana in their abode, Vishnudham. And that's why Narayana is called Sriman Narayana. Lord Vishnu, he has a lot of qualities like truth, knowledge, divine beauty, consciousness, then many more qualities. So he said consciousness is a quality of Lord Vishnu. So all these are the major contradictions from the Advaita philosophy. The concept of Atma and the concept of liberation according to Visishta Advaita philosophy is, they believe in the multiplicity of Atma. What the Visishta Advaitam says is, there are infinite Atmas. Each Atma is eternal, each Atma is infinitely small, but when they enters the body, it becomes consciousness. Each Atma is controlled by God, and each Atma is bound by karma and not by ignorance. And there are many Atmas, and all these Atmas form the Sharira, that is the body of the Lord. And each Atma is very deeply connected to the Lord, but they are not same as the Lord. And so every Atma is a part of the Lord and not the Lord itself. It can never take the stage as the Lord. What they say is, the Atmas are like the leaves and the Lord is the tree. So the Lord cannot exist without the Atmas and the Atmas cannot exist without the Lord. During the period of unmanifestation, all these Atmas, they exist in Vishnu Dham. And during the phase of manifestation, they all exist in this world as different Atmas with different forms and names. So God is the supreme controller. And their concept of liberation is the permanent existence of the Atma in Vishnu Dham. And liberation is attained by the grace of the God and by the karma and not by the removal of ignorance. So each Atma has to pass through the phase of para bhakti, that is the concept of self-surrender to the Lord. And by para bhakti, they attain the liberation, they attain the Vishnu Dham. The goal of the Atma is self-surrender itself, and self-surrender or para-bhakti is attained by self-restraint, upasana and meditation on the form of the Lord. There are three types of liberation. The first is the samipya. Samipya means to be near the Lord in Vishnu Dham. That is to be his servant or to be his assistant. And sarupya, that is the next type of liberation. Sarupya means to have the form of the Lord, like the form of the Lord itself, and stay in Vishnu Dham. And the third is the salokya, that is exist in the sphere of Lord, that is to exist in Vishnu Dham. So samipya, sarupya and salokya, these are the three types of liberation, and these are the different stages of liberation attained according to the complete self-surrender and by the karmas. What is Visishta Advaita philosophy says is, God is supreme and all the Atmas are connected to the Lord in a very emotional way. Visishta Advaita philosophy appeases the emotionally minded people in a very large extent. The emotionally minded people, they need something to hang on. They need a support, and that support is the Lord. That is Lord Vishnu. Sri Ramanuja's devotional intensity to the form of Lord Vishnu was so intense that he could not accept the other forms of the Lord equal to Lord Vishnu. That is the form of Lord Shiva, form of Lord Shakti, form of Lord Kartikeya, Ganesha or any other form equal to Lord Vishnu. What he said was, if any Atma devote their life to any other form of the Lord, like Lord Shiva or Lord Shakti, then that Atma has to take rebirth after rebirth until they worship the form of Lord Vishnu, attain para-bhakti and then attain liberation. Such was his devotional intensity. So these are the major contradictions with Advaita philosophy. So the concept of Lord, the concept of Atma, the concept of liberation, the concept of dualistic approach, all these of Visishta Advaita philosophy are entirely different from the Advaita philosophy. Advaita philosophy believes in non-dualism and they believe in on the concept of Brahman. But majority of the people in India follow Visishta Advaita philosophy. Because majority of the people are emotionally minded. They need something to hang on. And that support is the Lord. In India, Visishta Advaita philosophy is first followed in, majority of the people follow Visishta Advaita philosophy, followed by Dvaitam. and then Advaita. Advaita philosophy is a highly intellectual philosophy. It cannot appease a common man's mind or a emotionally minded people. The concept of Advaita philosophy cannot percolate inside an emotionally minded person. Advaita philosophy is known as the rational school of Vedanta. The truth is the same. There are different paths to approach the truth. No one philosophy is good or bad or better, nothing like that. Each one is perfect and they have their own path to reach the ultimate truth. They have chiseled their own path. So this is the Visishta Advaita philosophy, and it has major contradictions with the Advaita philosophy. Thank you for watching.